Today, I want to talk about changing things up. That was the theme, right? So, but let me introduce you briefly who I am. I'm a 45-year-old single mother to Tolga, who's 14 years old. I'm the oldest of family of 4. I have a sister who's very successful anchor woman in Turkish media. And I'm an army brat. My father was an officer in Turkish Air Force. And I have such a strong mother and a housemaker with a big vision. So that's me. We're going to talk about change. But what is change? To me, it's the most important part of life. Because change makes the cycle. You turn the wheel. If we were all happy where we are, we would be a flatliners, right? So to me, if we want our lives to get better, it doesn't get better by chance. I think it gets better by change. We all know that change starts within ourselves. But to me, when it's change, I think there's 2 important components of it. And this 2 components competes with each other too. Being able to dream and fear of failing. And it's all there. And it competes. And you decide which one wins. And sometimes you learn to get along with both of them. You know, I believe that life is a cycle, all that cliche, whatever. But every great dream begins with a dreamer. And I started at age 12. I was a little girl. Turkey, I mean, things were a little different, but not that different. It was still a closed economy. Forget that we had like tape recorders or more than one channel or a fancy foreign sneakers. We had only one radio with no FM channel. So every night I would turn the volume down because my parents wouldn't be happy that I'm still listening to the radio. And then this old radio had little opening that you could see the inside. It had little lights lighting up. It was the mechanism you could see inside. And I would start dreaming. I'm this businesswoman in New York streets and wearing a trench coat, believe it or not, at 12. And walking up and down, and I'm a businesswoman coming back from work. So I wouldn't remember that dream till I'm 25, actually walking on the Madison Street with a trench coat, soaked wet, and looking for a job. And would I regret about my dream? I don't think so. Because I was so busy at the same time cutting the old curtains or my father's old pants and making clothing for myself. I was in fashion, but not just to brands, but I wanted to create. I just wanted to dress something that nobody else has it. At that time, I remember I was cutting my old jeans and making bags, and then all my friends would bring their old jeans, sometimes new jeans, to make the bags for them as well. But their parents were not so happy. I was not the favorite of their parents because they would get upset that they would give me all their jeans and I would make bag out of them. And then I graduated. This little girl just went to college and met the husband. We were both in the college basketball team. We both had the same dream, going to the United States for a graduate school. We made that. Unfortunately, we were not so lucky, equipped, or prepared to make an Ivy League school. Would I even know? At that moment, my dream was just to make it in United States and have an education that was better, and it was my choice this time. So we came to United States, and then he wanted to do his own business, but we didn't have a work permission. We didn't have any visa. So I started looking for a job. Did I get my dream job? No, but my dream was to get a job. So any job would be my dream at that age and at that time. So I found this job at a shipping company, medium-sized, specialized in traffic between Turkey and United States. Did I apply any places? Yes. I remember Morgan Stanley would consider me. Goldman Sachs would consider me. But I didn't have a visa. I didn't have a green card. So I took the first job came into my place. See, things happen for a reason. I took that job. It wasn't my dream job. In 2 years, I was the best marketing sales manager ever. Hungry, starving for success, to make it, to show it. So after 2 years, I said, what's next? You know, next for me was just making it better. It was a medium-sized company. My boss had to die to take his position, so it wouldn't happen. So what happened is I was walking on the streets a lot, and then I would look at those, buildings and say, how many people works in them? How many secretaries, administrative people? They like to dress, but they cannot afford it. So why don't we open some stores? During my shipping job, I had a lot of contacts with importers, textile people, so I knew how to get my hand on a cheap leftovers of the goods. So I told my husband, you want to do your own business? Why don't we open the stores that doesn't look like really a garbage? It looks nice, but when they come in, it's cheap, but there's a merchandising, there's a style, there's a color coordination. We opened the first concept store called Everything $10. So you could get into store, you could get something for $10, but it didn't look like a, they would say in the garment district, schmata business. So it was okay. One store opened, led to second, second led to four, fifth, and who were we? We didn't have any credit history. We didn't have any money. Why would they even rent us a retail space? But the belief and convincing to people, showing that how much you want to do and how much you want to success, you know what, in a bad economy, they take you as a tenant. So that 10 store became 15, 20, then it became in Florida, Miami. So it was a good, successful business model. And I was at 31, working with my ex-husband, great, but my biological clock at 30, I knew that I wanted to have a kid. And I had a little bit of a comfort zone. We had our own business, you know, we were okay, so I became a mom. Being a mom is the biggest dream of many of us, right? But dreams comes with responsibilities. Dream comes with the fear again, fear of failing as a parent. But I believe that if you take a responsibility for yourself, you will develop a huge hunger to accomplish your dreams. I really believe in that. Because responsibility makes you even dream more. So being a mom, you know, was a great gift for me, I have to say, and my dream came true. But right around that, after 2 years, I was thinking, I was privileged to be with my son for 2 years, but what was I gonna be? This little girl wanted to be a businesswoman, not only a businesswoman, international businesswoman. So I start itching after 2 years, and what's next for me? So my colleague from the first company I worked for, we came together and we said, you know what, I don't think working with my ex-husband is a good idea anymore. I want to stand on my own feet. I want to prove to myself that I can do it in this country. So I opened my own shipping company. So I was all of a sudden founder and president of the logistic company, right? But at that time, I was such a small fish in a pond. Nobody believed me. Nobody even encouraged me to get into that business. Everybody was making fun of me, that I would fail, I would not do well. You know what? The more they said that, the more I would be charged. The more they said that I won't do it, even though I had dark moments, believe me, when I opened my company, I know how to use a forklift. I know how to load a container by myself because we couldn't afford an employee. So I know, go to Turkey and go to those spare parts people where are the darkest people. My father would be afraid to take me those places for sales calls. But because we didn't have a company car, my father used to drive me. So it was a little embarrassing, but I would let my father stay outside, go do my business as a businesswoman, come out and get those businesses. You know, it took me 3 years. We came with this niche thing. When you don't have a choice, you create alternatives. So I said, I'm going to do this. What anybody else, what they don't do in this shipping business that we can do. I became, in 2 years, the only shipping provider who could make a direct transshipment on the LCL, which is less than a container shipment. So if you have a container, you could send it with anything. But if you have 2 cubic meter, what would you do? If you air it, it would cost you 10 times. If you could send it by container, it would cost you 1/10 less. So we came this niche thing and we were specialized in textile and in exporting anything from here to Turkey. I opened my office. I start looking for a partner in Turkey. Believe me, it all sounds exciting. It had the moments, very dark moments. My partner, I didn't get along well. The account receivables didn't match. You know, the trust issues came in. And here I'm in Turkey one day. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm so stressed and I'm saying, is that really what I dreamed for? Is that really what it takes? My partnership is not working. The company is growing. I'm out of control. Blah, blah, blah. It's 4 o'clock, sleepless. Maybe I'm jet lagged, maybe stressed. And then that morning, you know, there's a cliche saying, the darkest moment is before the sunrise. 4 o'clock, I'm up looking through the hotel window. 7 a.m., the same morning, I get a telephone call. DHL is interested in your company. We would like to talk to you. I said, somebody's pranking. I said, they gotta be kidding me. Who has like time to call me at 7 o'clock to say that really this is the situation? But I had to take it. I had to believe in it because I was supposed to be still an international businesswoman. So I think what is the lesson from here is a dream does not become reality through magic. And it takes sweat, determination, and hard work. That's Colin Powell said. I cannot agree more. So when I say dream, you are what you dream of and your dreams will come true. And then believe me, it will happen, but not with the magic. You still have to work hard, you have to believe in it, and you have to stick with it. So We're talking about change. You know, change at that time, when I sold my company, I was going through a divorce, which was not a bad divorce, civilized divorce, but it's still emotionally very straining. I was putting my son in a private school in New York. Most of you don't know how painful it is. Wait for it. And then, all of a sudden, I was an executive in a global company, was the second largest employer, 500,000 employee. Here I am. Totally different environment. I was not responsible of 82 countries immediately. They gave me 6 countries. I loved it. Go there, do it. They saw this hardworking girl, and there are the countries who nobody else wants to go, most probably. You know, who would go to Yemen, Afghanistan, Iran, and Iraq? So, and it was a male-dominated field. And what else? The corporate structure, which I was not familiar, believe me, is totally a different ballgame. And then, managing diverse group of people. I had people at the end in 82 countries. They speak all different languages, and 11 hours time difference in my region. So I was like a pharmacy, open 7-Eleven, you know, no, 7/24 actually. Was it a great journey? 8 years. I was on the airplane every week. I've seen over 60 countries on a regular basis. My son is proud that he saw the 4 continents. And then he had, by age 6, full passport. And so he loves that kind of story. So as a mother, I think I was privileged to show him the world and, you know, see the privilege, not privilege, working mother and all that stuff. And did I learn a lot? Yes, I learned a lot. But after 8 years, I start questioning. See, the change is not that scary, even when things are so well. What happened is, I accomplished part of my dream. I was an international businesswoman. Oh, please believe me, I was. I was all over the place. And sometimes I would wake up in a hotel room, wouldn't know which country I'm in, because they all look the same. You go into airplane, the hotel room, meeting room. Believe me, they all look the same. After a while, if you're traveling in 3 days, 6 countries, you forget where you are. So it was enough. I had that dream, and and then you know what? And then your age comes to a point. What is the meaning of life? What are the important things for me? So seriously, should I really travel like crazy and take the next position, which is a global CEO? I was already regional 82 countries. I couldn't handle the world. And my son was getting bigger. He couldn't travel with me anymore. He had a school. So I decided to evaluate my life. And I said, you know what? What is important for me is to have a balanced life. What if I have a job, still pays, but doesn't make me travel that much, so that I can be with my son more, I can catch up with my social life, have social life. So I made the change again, and I went into Wall Street. So what happened is, a very successful hedge fund manager, very established in New York, also a friend, said, Gamze, you know Middle East inside out. You have all your contacts, you worked there over many years. Why don't you come and raise money for me in the Middle East and develop that market? It sounded like, great, I know the region, but I don't know the rest. You know, it's a totally different sector. As many of you would know, you can know what you know, but when you change the sector, it's totally new jargon, new language, new knowledge base. I had to learn again. And I was not starting as a senior executive, I was starting as a junior vice president. But good news is I don't have attachment to titles. For me, it's more important that what I do and what the outcome is. So I never identified with myself with the company I work for, what I do. At the end of the day, what I want and what I want to accomplish. And oh man, this was a different ride. I met movers and shakers. I saw the too big to fail part. Was I in every charity dinner? Was I flying private to my meetings in the Middle East? Yes. Does it sound like dreamy? Yes. But after 2 years, you know, I'm going to quote what Steve Jobs says, because that's exactly how I felt. He says, when I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, if you live each day as if it was your last, someday you will most certainly be right. It made an impression on me. Since then, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. And I had 7 no's in a row. So I had to quit my job. It wasn't because I was not making enough money. It's not because I was a failure. I couldn't make it. I risked tons of money. I was very successful and good at it, but it wasn't what I wanted. So the change should not scare you, but be ready what happens also as the next chapter. So after Wall Street, another phase of my life, I stopped dreaming. You know why? Because I was in a comfort zone. I was in a comfort zone. Financially, I was not under the threat that I had to go out there and get, making living for me and for my son. I could take a couple years off and do what I want to do. And then, was I creating anything? Not really. And then, do you think that this is the ultimate goal? You work, you make money, you get satisfaction in the career? Not really. So that was pretty much the cycle of my life. At age 42, I stopped dreaming. Let me tell you, it's the scariest thing. Don't ever stop dreaming. Then what happened? And I also know that things that we want, think about it. It's always out of your comfort zone. If you don't push that comfort zone, you never get what you want. You'll be again a flatliner. So I stopped dreaming, but then comes another chapter in my life. I've been a Vogue editor for the last 3 years, from the first day, Turkish Vogue. And I love it. You would look at me, 45 years old woman, never had a fashion background. Yes, I did some pants and jean bags in my, 12 years old, but doesn't really qualify you to be a Vogue editor, right? But why not? But I traveled the world, and I could give something back. But many of the people, and I was little doubting myself, would I be ridiculed for many? Would I be laughed if I really do this job? You know what, at the end, it's more important when I think about others than what they think about me. That comes with age. So I said, I'm going to go what I really want to do. So being a Vogue editor for the last 3 years, it was great. Did I have fear? Did I have ever doubt that I will fail? Yes. On the first issue, I had 4 pieces. One of my article was about one-night stand in Paris. Believe me, I didn't have a one-night stand in Paris. It was a one-night stand that I wanted to have with myself as a woman. But while I was making that trip, I was talking about the little secret places that I discovered in Paris, little place to eat, little place to shop. But the reader till the end was thinking that I will have a one-night stand any minute. So it gives people excited. People read that kind of stuff, but it wasn't cheesy. At the end, I guess the message is that women sometimes needs to take a one-night stand with themselves and indulge themselves. Especially if you work hard, you have the right to actually gift yourself. So what? I stayed in a nice hotel, went shopping, I ate the dessert without any shame or being worried that I'm going to gain weight. I ate everything, I shopped everything. That was my one-night stand. And that article, with no editorial background, on the first issue was the best article by many critics, that they loved my piece. That was really fulfilled. So from not having fulfillment, being in my comfort zone, and I think I pushed my comfort zone. Being a Vogue editor was like really pushing my comfort zone. And then the second beautiful part of my life that came later age, I realized that being a mom, being successful in business, it's time to give back and get in touch with my roots. I'm a Turkish woman. You still can hear my accent. I don't speak English perfectly. And when I go to Turkey, first thing I will need is a kokoreç, even though my sister doesn't want me to eat anymore. So what made me tie with my roots is actually Turkish Philanthropy Fund. And when I was approached and asked to be the board member, one of the board of directors, I really was thrilled. Nothing made me that excited because I was finally connecting with my roots. I was offered to a platform that I could give back. And here I am, pushing my luck and comfort zone more than that, having more fulfillment than that. I really don't think of anything else. So you guys might ask, what's next? And then, if you ask me, I start dreaming again. So I complete the cycle. I please that little girl who wanted to be a businesswoman. Now, at age 45, I'm thinking, what is next? But now, this time, I have less fear, more confidence, and more clarity on what I want to do. Please don't be afraid. Go for what it feels right for you, because you decide.